morning, pilgrims. Efren Gonzalez here, your travel adventure vlogger and recent Camino guide. This past May, I was lucky to host a group of 7 pilgrims on the Camino Frances from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port all the way to Santiago de Compostela. Today, I'm standing here in front of Porto's Cathedral on this beautiful August morning with my pilgrim passport in hand, about to start on yet another incredible pilgrimage, the Camino Portugues, the Central Route. It's been 4 years since I did the coastal route, or better yet, the Litoral to be more precise, and now I have 11 stages, about 250 kilometers ahead of me, half of it here in Portugal, the other half in Galicia, Spain. And guess what? I have a surprise for you. For the first time in any of my trips, my beautiful wife Lizzie's and my 10-year-old son Giancarlo, who has grown up so much, have decided to come to see me off and wish me a buen camino. Now, are they walking with me? I don't think so, but I'll take what I can. You know, things are improving, right? Now, there's only one thing left to say.
Roll that intro, please.
Now, I have to say, it feels really good to have my family here to say goodbye, to send me off on this Camino. This is the second time they do so. The first one was on my first Camino in 2017 when we flew to Paris and we spent about a week there, and then I said goodbye, headed to Biarritz on a flight, then took a train to Bayonne and a bus to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port to start the trip. In this case, coming here, we took a flight from Miami straight to Lisboa, spent a few days there, went to the Seaquarium, we explored the entire city, and then we took a train to Porto, said goodbye here in the cathedral. They are heading back home today, and I'm about to start the Camino Portugues, the Central Route. Why the Central Route? Well, I have already done the coastal one, and you guys are constantly asking me which one is better, and you know, I can't have an opinion because I haven't done this one yet, but by the time you see this one, I have already finished. I have an opinion I will tell you all about on the last video. When I make it to Santiago, I'll do like a little recap as I always do. The coastal one, I did it in 12 days. This one, I'm doing it in 11. Everything is already booked ahead because I was here in May in Spain doing the Camino Frances, and it was kind of like a nightmare in May, so I decided to book ahead. I also decided to use the luggage transfer service, but I'm still carrying about 15 pounds worth away in my backpack. The city is nice and quiet right now. It's just a little bit over 7 a.m. when I left the Albergue that I stayed last night right next to the cathedral. But it wasn't like this yesterday. It was just bustling and hustling. So many people over the bridge in the whole river area. I guess I was just one of them. When I was here in March of 2019, there wasn't even half of what I've been seeing on this vacation. Now, left this morning very early because 75% of today's stage is gonna be just leaving Porto. I have to walk by the airport, and then once I make it to the industrial section, I leave the city behind. I could have taken a bus or a metro there, but then today's stage would have been like 5 kilometers long. It's gonna be like a 25-kilometer day, and there's plenty of yellow arrows. I don't know why people are getting lost leaving the city. I saw so many by the cathedral, by the main park, but at the same time, I have my own GPS tracks, which I will be tracing. I will be taking pictures of all the pilgrim-related stuff that you guys have seen on the Camino Frances on those GPS tracks. I already saw my first water source. I filled up my new camel bag or bladder, this old school one that Karen bought for me in Burgos. Thank you, Karen. And just looking for a place to have breakfast because everything is closed right now. But not to worry, there's gonna be plenty of bars along the way today. Do you remember this place? This is where I started my Camino coastal route 4 years ago. I've been walking for a while now, but I managed to find a place to have breakfast right across from a nice and beautiful water fountain. And I've just been following the yellow arrows, making my way up and down. This is not as flat as the coastal route, but it's not really too bad at all. So yeah, let's continue. Foggy morning, but I'm sure it's gonna clear up because it's gonna get hot in the afternoon. It is 9 a.m. already and I'm at the 25% of the way, so 6.3 kilometers down. Been walking for a straight line, leaving the old city behind, entering the suburbs, the good, the bad, the ugly, and super easy, no way you're gonna get lost. You know, maybe you should take the metro because it's not as pretty as the coastal route. I also already crossed my threshold or my mark for the 10,000 steps for the day, so I'm gonna have to increase that to maybe 30,000, 40,000, we'll see. Already saw the first two pilgrims on the Camino, and there were a couple of Italians. They just passed me super fast. I've seen quite a few on bicycles. You know, as you guys know, I already did the Camino Frances on an e-bike, so if you want to check out that series, I'll put the link in the description and up here. You can also check out the coastal series, and that way you can compare both and decide for yourself. Well, as you can see, the sun already came out. I'm still trailing the same roads. I think right now I'm approaching the halfway point right next to the airport, and something pleasantly happened for the first time, I think, on any of my Camino, and that's a lot to say. A guy on a motorcycle stopped by and gave me some water. Ooh. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Just when I was looking for a water fountain. The Camino provides, I guess. It is 11 in the morning. I'm right next to this very busy road. And I just came across the first cemetery at the halfway point of the day. We're next to the airport as well. And here's one of those survival tips in case you're in a pickle and you need some water. They usually have a water tap here at the cemeteries for people to water the flowers. And there's also a toilet that you can use in case of an emergency. The sun is out and it is baking, and I'm so glad that I brought an umbrella, which is my first line of defense. It's getting hot. I'm in the industrial section of the city, and I saw this restaurant that's right here behind me, and I thought, you know what, it's 11:30, might as well get a bite to eat before I head out. And after having a little moment of being lost in translation, trying to get them to either speak English or Spanish, I managed to communicate using Google Translate. They told me that they only open at noon for lunch, so instead I just got a beer, the first one of the trip, and I had to take out my fan, which is right here. That's the second line of defense. When it comes to the heat over here, I brought this small, tiny fan that's USB power, so I have a power bank, which gives me enough juice to last the entire day, so I can walk with it, clip onto my backpack, and have a little bit of a breeze, and that in combination with my umbrella and also my hat. I can have my hat. That will be 3 layers of protection from the heat, because it is August. It's actually August 16, 2023, just to date the video, so you guys don't have to ask me. And enjoying the beer before I leave Porto behind and I enter the countryside for a little bit, and let's see where I can have lunch. Not a big deal. I think I'm getting close to the 75% of the way. I have not seen any other pilgrims today, which is kind of shocking. I thought this was a very popular pilgrimage, but then again, as it always happens, now that I'm sitting here, I may get to see a few pilgrims just walk by. We'll see. .33, quick stop here in this forest for a pit stop. It's right next to the road. The sun is baking, but you know, I've been using the fan. Not right now. Right now I don't want it to interfere with the audio, even though I don't think it picks it up, but just in case. Already found a churrasqueria in the next town on my Google Earth tracks, and I think that's where I'm gonna be stopping at for lunch. Already saw 2 other pilgrims. Not as many as I thought. I think most people probably just took the bus, and I think you should as well. Compared to day 1 on the coastal one, the coastal one wins by far. Should I keep doing this? Should I keep comparing it stage by stage? I don't know, it might get a little bit old after a while, but we'll see. Let's go. I've seen so many pilgrims over the last 5 years that I've been doing Caminos here in Europe using walking sticks, and they're either dragging them behind them, they don't know how to lace them right around their wrist, or they just have them in their backpack. So why not just bring like a foldable grabber instead, like this one? There you go, and help keep the Camino a little bit clean. Seeing so much trash today, I wasn't gonna pick up the one in the major city because they have crews doing that. But out here in the countryside, I just had enough, and I started picking up the little butts. You know, in just a little bit, in about 2 blocks, I managed to fill up an entire bag, one of those supermarket bags, and I just threw it away in the trash. So yeah, let's all do our parts and help keep the Camino as clean as possible. I'm not gonna say that we're gonna eradicate it, because if we manage to do so, then the next step will just be world peace. You know, most of the time it just falls off pilgrims' backpack, or it's just the locals. But if we can all do our parts, we can keep the Camino that much cleaner, which it would be nice. It is 2:30 in the afternoon, and I just had lunch in this little town at the churrasqueria behind me, which took forever for the guy to serve me. I was ready to get up and start walking, but then again, I didn't have much of a choice. Not even when he came to ordering, he just told me barbecue chicken with rice and fries, so I had to take what they had. And while I was having lunch, I met this Australian pilgrim, this lady in her 80s. She was disappointed because she started walking and she can't find places to stay, so she's considering going back home, which I tried to tell her not to do, but you know, everyone has their own Camino. So it's strange because I haven't seen that many pilgrims, so who knows? Maybe, like I said before, maybe they took the bus out of Porto and they're just ahead of me. I think I still have like 6 kilometers to go, so that should be about an hour, maybe an hour and a half at the rate that I'm going, because I'm just filming too much. All right, let's go for it. Made it to the albergue at almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon after walking on a very dangerous stretch there on the road. I even actually had to climb on the ledge for a little section there and then jump down next to the cornfields just to escape from the traffic, but that was only for a little stretch and then I had to get back on the road. It was crazy. Check out the kitchen over here. I'm on a separate building from the main albergue because that one on the other side is already full, at least the bottom bunk beds. If I would have stayed there, I would have had to climb to the top. So the guy told me just cross the street, get to this one over here where you have beds, and I have my air conditioning section over here with my 2 fans. This one I have to fill it up with water so it can throw out some mist, and I can put this in the fridge, let it freeze, and then tonight it's gonna get chilly in here. So yeah, 6 o'clock we're gonna be having some drinks over there. Dinner's gonna have to be in the main town, and then tomorrow is an early wake-up call because I think I still have to walk on that road for a little bit. It is 8 o'clock, and what a way to end the first day on the Camino. Just hanging out in the patio there with all the pilgrims that are here. They're all from Italy. They decided to go into the town and buy a ton of meat, and we all cooked it there in the barbecue. We sat down, we had wine, just talking, having a great time. I forgot to mention to you guys that I have a kit now of stamps. That's right. So I sat down with them and I gave them all my personalized stamp. And I also have some wax stamps that I brought along. I brought like 6 different designs. Most of them decided to go either with the heart, the scallop shell, or the tree of life. And it was just great time all around. And you know, what can I say? What a great way to end the day. I still like the coastal route, especially on day 1. Because if you guys remember, when you leave Porto, you follow the river to the ocean. There is the lighthouse over there that was just incredible. And then you follow the beach. You have a few forts, a few bridges along the way. But, you know, what can I say? I gotta stop talking about the Camino Litoral and just focus on the central one. Tomorrow's gonna be a gorgeous day with a very nice town that we're reaching. Forgot the name of it, but it has a nice bridge. And you guys will see it tomorrow. And tomorrow we're just gonna start off early in the morning because we still gotta walk by this main road for just a little bit more. I think the 2 places where we can have breakfast here open around 7 a.m. So maybe we'll wake up at 6:30 and head out at 7. Day 1 on the Camino Portugues. See you guys tomorrow, 7 o'clock.